Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? Hey, welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. I got my guys here. We call it CEO time. We're outside, so forgive any noise. Listen, we know that it is Easter Sunday, and what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was about policies and procedures. Trust the process. We were just talking about this, and I just felt like you guys needed to hear this. Trust the process. Trust the process. If you jump out of a plane without a parachute, thou shalt surely die. Especially if you're 2,000 feet in the air, you're gonna die. That's the process of gravity, right? You're going down, right? If you just do horrible things to your body, you shooting up, you're drugging, over-drugging, drinking heavily, and all of this stuff, you're doing that's not gonna be good for you. You're going to have medical problems, right? These are some of the things that are policies and procedures. But there's also a financial policy and procedure, and there's also financially laws that we were talking about that are universal laws set by God. And I'm gonna say by God, it's Easter Sunday. And so what I'm gonna tell you is some of these procedures, Josh, are simple. It's just the simple things that we don't do. If you invest in the S&P 500 over a 20-year period, you're going to make money, period. Every time you get paid, you should put some money into an investment, because if you put your money to work, meaning your money making money off of it, every time you get up to go to work, you wake up your money, say, y'all get up, y'all go out and work too, right? And then say, I'll see you tonight, right? But the thing about your money is, even while you're asleep, your money's making money.
Right.
And so policies and procedures that I want you guys to adopt and have your kids adopt as soon as possible. I want you guys to think about some policies and procedures that just simply work. If you buy at a certain point when the market goes down, if you simply buy and hold, you will make money. These are policies and procedures. And you're going to make money than had you bought at the top and only buy at the top. People that wait and only buy near the bottom, they're gonna outperform people that buy at the top every time.
Yeah.
These are policies and procedures.
I'd love to hit him with something.
Yeah,
okay,
go
let's
ahead.
talk about this. The fact is that crypto has a very clearly, now people
Clear.
say, I'm finally talking about crypto. All right, Josh, how come you've not been talking about crypto? You've abandoned crypto. I said, no, crypto abandoned me. And I said goodbye to it when we were at the top of the market. But let's talk about the fact that, Larry's bringing up policies and procedures. And the fact is that it's got one of the most defined four-year procedure patterns,
Yes.
right? And we talked about this on one of Larry's shows.
I said it was the easiest way to make money.
Yeah, and
you
we
just
talked about
follow
this.
the procedure.
Yeah, it has a very short, 1/3 of the time, it's going parabolic. The rest of that 4-year period, it's either going down or sideways. And so, you want to be following the big picture view. Now, I know there's money to be made today, and there's probably still money to be made in this crypto cycle. But I believe that now we have to be more careful, because we know we're not in the winter. We're not in the dead of the winter yet. We're not.
That means it's coming.
It means it's coming still, right?
Yeah.
And so you should be all excited about this. I'm excited about being an investor in the dead of the winter at this apocalyptic stage where everything is down. Bitcoin has to be over 55% down from its all-time high. It has to be, for that winter to be in effect. And I know people argue with me, Larry, and they're like, Josh, not this time. You're denying the policy and the procedures that Larry and I and Keenan are talking to you about. Because you know what? We've at the point, and I can speak for myself, but you guys might agree, we're at the point where we're more trusting of the procedure.
Yes.
We've practiced it longer, and for us, we're okay with it. We're not trying to get rich between now and the next 12 months. We'd like to, but I'm content to hold some cash and get in on the winter. Now, I'm not saying this season's over, but if you ask me, what are you more excited about, the remainder of this season or buying in the winter? I'm gonna tell you, I'm more excited about getting everything when everybody's abandoning it at the bottom of the market. So I think that the crypto right now, Larry, probably underscores what you're saying the most.
That is.
And then you start getting into the fact that the market has somewhat been in a bear trend. But what are your thoughts, Keenan?
Keenan, what you got on
So-
trusting the process?
Trusting the process, I want to say this. If you don't trust the process, eventually you will. because you're gonna keep getting bonked in the head with the lesson. And I had wrote some things down that I wanted to just speak on for Easter. And the first thing was, think about what God is trying to teach you when things are not going the way that you want them to go in your life. Because maybe the plan is bigger than the plan that you have for yourself. So if you're not where you are, where you want to be financially, physically, or mentally, what is life and God trying to teach you at this point? So that you can take that lesson and then you'll stop getting hit in the head with the lesson, with the learning stick, or we call it the board of education. So think about that. And then the next thing is this.
Take your time.
I'm clicking stuff on the wrong thing on my phone.
That's all right. You take your time.
A delay in your plans might actually be God's way of keeping you safe.
Wow. You better say that.
A delay in your plans might actually be God's way of keeping you safe. And there's a story, and it's about Jay-Z, the rapper. He had a nephew, and his nephew passed away. And he had a song, and many of you may have heard it. He said, my nephew died in a car I bought. And
I remember that.
Right.
What's powerful about that, in conjunction to maybe a delay in your plans might be God's way of protecting you, is the nephew may not have earned the car that he was driving. He may not have had the respect for it, and therefore he drove it and crashed in it. So maybe you aren't where you want to be yet because God is still trying to protect you from something that could have happened otherwise. And I had said a joke the other day about it. It was like, maybe you got rich tomorrow and then you got on the yacht and drowned. And you're being protected from that. So when it happens, it's gonna happen when it's supposed to happen. And it might not be when you think it should happen. So follow the procedures, invest into the S&P, drink some water. Drink some water, that's gonna be good. You drink some water, right?
Yep.
Add that in there. Family, go for a walk. Go for a walk. All of these things together gonna give you that longevity, financially, physically, and mentally. Let's have that longevity together.
And you know what? I always research this, and I say this all of the time. 83, there's skewed numbers, but about 83 to 87% of the stuff you worry about never happens.
Absolutely.
It never happens. Like stock market's going to zero. That's never happening. It never happens.
It never happened.
And then if you see, I've pointed out from the Great Depression to the dot-com of the 90s to the Great Recession of 2008 to COVID to the bear market of 2022 until now. I've pointed it out. I've pinpointed to my followers. It was always the best time to buy.
Yeah.
Trust the procedure, good people. Trust the procedure.
Can I
and
add
just
something,
have
Larry?
patience. Yes.
You know, if fear is what you want, then fear is what you'll find. All three of us have followings, and we'll put videos out, and then we see in the comment section that some people only heard the bear case.
Yep.
And some people only heard the bull case.
Right.
And so you really need to take a step back and be careful about getting caught up too much in the going narrative. You guys know this without us telling you today that Warren Buffett cashed up, and he doesn't intend to sit on that cash until the day he dies. He intends to redeploy it. Right. And so I think that right now the market's pulled back a lot and people are paralyzed. I have a ton of 95 to 98% of my current positions are in cash, right? Not my long-term account, but my current position is not deployed.
Right.
But this is a season of deployment.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm going to have to go in. I bet I won't feel great about it. Could be the market would drop an additional 5-10%.
Yep.
But the fact is, we know that we're sitting at the age of AI and robots,
Right.
and a time that's worth investing in, maybe unprecedented.
Right.
And every other season, like Larry's talked about, there's been these moments
Yep.
where they said, "Oh, this will happen, that'll happen." .com, 2008, great financial crisis, the World War tariff. These are opportunities.
Yep.
If you believe in the system and you haven't been listening to too much fear.
Well, I will tell you, to top that off, thank you, gentlemen, for that. Share this video with me. I was going to walk by myself and make this video, but how can I forfeit? How can I withhold this from you guys, having these guys with you? Listen, I'm just going to tell you, the process showed me that every time a major index dropped by more than 20%, it was just, like he just said, I hold my nose and I buy.
Yep.
I bought QQQ when it was down 23% here in the last week. I shared it with you guys. But I also bought it down when it was negative 18%. I showed you the 200-day moving average. I showed you the VIX. And I'm going to say this. There's an indicator that I was discussing with them last night.
Yes.
And it's not the fear and greed indicator. It is the fear mongering indicator. This is when I know it's a time to buy. When I cut on certain news stories of certain channels and all they're selling you is bunkers,
Food supply.
food supply that's going to last for like 9 months.
And gold.
Invest in gold.
And when gold hits an all-time high, and people, here's another thing.
Go get
When
bonds.
people that
Yeah.
have never bought gold starts buying gold, that's
Yeah,
those
it's
when
just
those
like
things
crypto. Just like
exactly.
crypto.
When those things start happening, that's when I start buying.
Right.
And I said the overuses of the word patriot now. So now generators,
Patriot.
you're patriot. So
Yeah,
patriot generators, patriot food, patriot, and all of the fear mongering coming, especially on some of these Christian stations.
Buy
all
your
the-
supply of
buy
gold
your
and you get a free musket.
exactly
Comes with it.
exactly, and then buy. And this is not a foo-foo on gold. Gold is at an all-time
Yeah.
high.
If you had bought at 2,000, you're happy.
Exactly.
Is it time to buy now?
When I start seeing all of the fear mongering coming up, like you need a supply, you need the bunker, doomsday, the apocalypse, that's when I start buying. It is the fear mongering indicator. That's Larry's fear mongering indicator. That's when it's time to buy.
Right.
It's Easter Sunday, good people, and I just want to say this. And these days are not actual days. These are days that we observe. A week ago was Palm Sunday. So Jesus was entering into Jerusalem on the back of an ass. They were throwing what? They were waving
Coats,
what?
coats, palms, and
Palms.
they're putting their coats on the ground.
Right, and they were saying, "Here comes the King. Here comes the King." Those same people by Friday was yelling what?
Crucifying.
Crucify him, right? Some of you guys, that's what's been happening to you. The same people that's been pushing you up are the same people that get jealous when you actually get up. And they're saying, crucify him. Some of you, it's been your finances. It's just got to drop. You were like, yay, look, in November 5th, look at how much my account is up. And then you watch it drop, right? But then comes a day like today. And this is Easter, but we call it Happy He is Risen Day.
Yes.
Because this is the day we celebrate when Jesus, what?
Resurrection,
Arose.
Resurrection Day is better than Liberation Day.
It is. Resurrection Day is better than Liberation Day. And this is Resurrection Day. So I want you to think that about that financially. You're going to resurrect your finances. And as a matter of fact, I want you to be a G about it. I want you to be a gangster about it. Because Jesus was a gangster. You know what? They were saying, oh, we took his life. He said, no, you didn't. Jesus said, no, you didn't. He said, I laid it down, didn't he?
That's right.
He said, you ain't take my life. I laid it down. He knew that this was coming. But he knew that he had to be the sacrifice, right? And so trust the process. Trust the process. Now, I know everybody is not a Christian, but I am. And I trust that process. I trust give and it shall be given. You made the comment the other day. Someone asked, who's the wealthiest among us? And what did you say?
Whoever helps the most people.
Whoever helps the most people. I'm rich. I'm rich in that. Josh is rich in that. Keenan is rich in that. Because we want to help the most people. Trust the process, good people. There's a lot of gems in this message, okay? Happy Easter, happy He is risen. And I want everything in your life to rise. Everything. Your relationships with your family, I want those to rise. Your finances, I want those to rise. Your relationship with God, I want that to rise. Get back in the church. Start reading your Bible. Start treating people right, regardless of who they voted for. Let's get back right. Let's put people over politics, and let's make money on top of this. Happy Easter. We love you guys.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.